The NHL draft, man, very entertaining. The last few have been kind of boring, but the hometown Canadians made sure to liven things up at the first draft in Montreal in 13 years. First, and what was a surprise to a lot of people, they took forward Juraj Slafkovsky out of Slovakia, first overall, made him the first Slovak to go number one overall. And then shortly after that, Gary Bettman comes out with a pair of trades. He announced that the Habs eventually landed 21-year-old Kirby Dach with the Blackhawks, took third overall just 3 years ago. Bettman gave it a little showmanship, thought that was pretty entertaining.
Oh, he was fucking hilarious. The whole crowd was amazing just with the amount they were booing him. And then he's like, I have a trade to announce. And then they're like, boo. And he's like, no, I think you want to hear this one.
No,
yeah.
Hey, so I was with my brother-in-law watching, and he's not really a hockey fan. He's like, why are they booing this guy? I'm like, well, I think at this point, it's almost like they just boo him to boo him. I don't really know if it's truly like that much hatred towards him.
Oh, Montreal's
out of the show
by Gary.
But
they haven't won enough cups.
But they were relentless where they continued every time he's talking, they're booing him. And he said, geez, it continues. I go, well, now it's just any other arena, it probably would have ended after the original boo. But Montreal, they're just known to give everyone the business.
Buddy, and this is after they were handed first overall pick. We all know it should have been the fucking Coyotes, and they're still going to boo him. What a bunch of fucking babies in that crowd booing him as long as how could they hate that man that much after the success that organization has had since their existence?
All their success before he was commissioner, right? I mean, all right, when did he take over?
I think they won it in '93. I think that was on Bettman's watch, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So, well, Jim won on his watch.
Actually, Grinelli's going to have to look into that to confirm, but that would be funny if all of them had been won since he took over. So no wonder they were fucking booing him.
I don't know what part of the draft it was, but at some point they started cheering someone, and Bettman's like, "Can I get some of that?" Like, did you hear him say that? He's like,
he was.
I think at one point he's like, "What the fuck?"
He must have hit the dab pen beforehand, lightened up a little bit.
Well, Biz, you mentioned at the beginning the Arizona Coyotes brass all dressed the exact same. I heard it was actually in honor of Harry Knuckles. It was the same uniform he wore, and you'll never see him. So that's pretty cool. To dress up like him and dress like a Seat guy. And I wanted to, shout out the Coyotes for thinking of a Harry Knuckles guy who'd been a part of their.
Well, they're moving on from Glendale over to ASU, so I'm not sure if he'd be able to head and knuckles the guys. So beautiful homage to him and well represented at the draft. And guys, not only was there tons of showmanship, the fans booing, Gary being funny, but there was a shock. There was rumblings that they were not going to go with Shane Wright first overall, but to see the second pick go, the third pick go, and then finally Seattle lands him at 4. And on top of that, this could be a rumor and this could not be the case, and maybe you guys can confirm, but as Shane Wright walked on stage, he was staring down the Montreal Canadiens draft table multiple times. Yes or no, RA? Was that fabricated by the interwebs? Because I tend to put a lot of stock into Twitter and their reactions.
I believe he was. I know there was one reporter that said he was looking for the TV camera, which doesn't make any sense because why would he be fucking giving a dirty look to the camera? Everyone there said the Montreal table was right there, and that's what he was doing. I have a hard time thinking it was not. Why would he be giving the camera a dirty look? That makes no sense.
He had to be, because the whole thing was he is smiling with Bettman and then just immediately turns on the mean face and then kind of gave him another one too. So he was pissed off. Now it was interesting because I felt like, now granted, there were rumors in the season Slafkovsky, excuse me. It was like, all right, well, maybe this guy could take over, but it was more the morning of the draft. You really saw rumblings coming out that like, it looks like it's going to be this guy. And I mean, I felt bad for Shane Wright, and it brought me right back to my draft. And it was the Jay Baumeister scenario in terms of, it was the same thing. Since they were 15 years old, both guys are the first overall picks in 3 years. It's like these guys are clear cut, the best player at their age group. And we got to our draft in 2002 and ended up being Rick Nash. And then you're like, all right, well, now it's Baumeister, and boom, Kari Lehtinen goes ahead of him. And what sucks for him, Baumeister at the time, who's laughing now, who cares? And for right now is like the cameras just, they don't leave that guy, right? So it's like, oh, this poor kid is supposed to be the best day of his life. And he's kind of sitting there, and, just the anxiety and the feeling that he's going through of, it's such a disappointment when in reality, it's such a special day. And what you've done is so amazing to get where you're at now. And in the end, it doesn't even really matter where you get drafted, right? Like the game goes now, dude. Like now it's what we see. But you just feel for a kid who's been preparing for something for that long to then be like sitting there. And it must have felt like it was fucking 4 hours, the 3 picks that went by.
Yeah. And like when you're a kid who's been, you're being talked about going first overall for probably 3-4 years, might be a bit of a shot to the ego to not. Maybe a little bizarre that you're staring down the table. Now, the only reasonable explanation for that is maybe Canadians brass pulled the old Kush Lash's old man where he's like, Jerry, you're our guy. My word's as strong as oak. And then completely cut, right? That's like the only explanation where they tell him, you're going number 1. We got you, buddy. And then boom, he gets hit with that one. And that the fact that he had to wait for, 3 more picks to finally be called. But I look at it like this. Apparently the kid that the Canadians drafted seems to be maybe the most NHL ready. And with the moves that they're making, they're probably looking to go from successful team that went to the Cup finals to complete laughing stock of the league to now maybe got their names back in the mix. And then I think what you talked about it when we get to Weeksy later on was, who knows, maybe they go out and sign Klingberg too. So this Montreal Canadiens team could be ready to compete again with some of the guys that they've stocked up on. But and moving it over to Shane Wright, Bud, look at the young centerman this Seattle team has. This team could be a wagon in a few years with all the depth they have down the middle. They got Beniers, they got Shane Wright, and there's one other name I'm forgetting of, and I know Grinelli's gonna hop in and throw it at me.
Grinelli just did text over. Gary Bettman was elected December 12th, 1992. He took office February 1st, 1993, a few months before the Canadians won their last Stanley Cup.
There you go, Canadians. What the fuck are you booing for? He fucking handed you a cup in his era. Come on, now.
I also did tweet out that I mean, and this is no offense to Shane Wright, not a bad-looking kid by any means, but when I saw, I had never seen Slafkovsky's face. Right? You see him lighting up the Olympics. You see he's a big monster scoring goals. They showed the kid in the crowd. I tweeted, that's what he fucking looks like. He's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the option and the kid's this good, and then you see he looks like that, it's like, all right, that's our guy. That's our pick. So, I mean, I was super impressed with, I guess, his game and his looks. And now you see all the clips coming out from the rookie camp. So nowadays, and it didn't happen when we were drafted, Biz, but now you get drafted and boom, everyone goes right back to the city and they have some rookie camps. And I think it's not only just the rookies, it's maybe summer development camp. I don't know how it works. He's in the gym. He's breaking bicycles on the Wingate test. You see this kid?
Wow.
No.
It looked like it was in fast speed.
He's smashing the Wingate. For people who don't know, the VO2 test on the bike can be long. It's almost how long you can go. That's the Duncan Keith masterpiece in terms of he's got lungs like a Tour de France rider like Biz. Wingate is more a 15 to 20 second all-out sprint in terms of seeing how strong your legs are. The woman after the test looked at him like, holy shit, look at this guy. And then after they asked him, he said, I want to break everything in here. So this kid, he's a man on a mission, and he is a force to be reckoned with.
Wow. Yeah, Shane Wright did say, yes, I'll have a chip on my shoulder for sure about sliding down the 4th. So it definitely put a bird in his
buddy, no state taxes in Seattle. What the fuck is he complaining about?
He's gonna play. He's gonna play
next year. It's a guarantee, and he just has to deal with the pressure of playing in Montreal, because if he doesn't score in his first 5 games, they won't be asking him to be traded, for crying out loud. Now, Grinelli, I asked you who their depth at center was from the young guns. I mentioned Shane Wright. I mentioned Beniers. Was there another kid, or am I just making shit up?
I think you may just be making shit up.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
welcome back to the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Now, that 8-year deal has became firm as far as a number. Nichushkin, 6.125. So we weren't far off. I thought $6 million would have been, that's getting in the range. But hey, if they believe in him, I'm sure he'll be ready to shove it right up.
So 1 million dollars, $48.9 million. Whoo! How you doing, buddy? Good for him, right?
Good for him.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
What the hell is McKinnon going to get from them? Back to the draft quickly.
Yeah.
What a cool moment for the country of Slovakia to have the 1st and 2nd pick is just so outstanding. And I think they later on, Montreal took another Slovak. they took another Slovak pretty high up in the draft. So that's pretty cool for Slafkovsky to have a guy that he knows well. And in terms of the pick by New Jersey, I saw that kid. He played World Juniors as, I think, a 16-year-old, like the way Spezza did Biz and Baumeister, and as a real young guy. And I said, holy shit, he was a beast then. He had the full cage on for quite a while. I think he's been so young in some of the World Juniors he played in, but love his game. And I think that Jersey knew what they were doing in terms of understanding we want to get some defensive help here, and we got a future of what they're looking at, number one guy.
We got to talk about Arizona pick, Maverick Lamoureux's parents. They were very excited about their son getting drafted. Just full on making out right after he got picked.
I got to be honest, guys. That fucking gave me the biggest half chub.
That's
got to be the biggest half chub.
We called the French Open.
Threw that tongue dart down his throat.
And I think it was it was his wife. Like, he went to kiss her, and she's just like, I want.
What do you mean? No, that was a clean tongue dart, well executed, right into the makeout. Oh, that's
of course he had, of all fucking numbers too. That kid had 69 penalty minutes last year, and he had 4 goals and 20 assists. Like, what are the fucking odds? The guy whose parents make out, open tongue make out, and he has the 69 and the 420. And you know what? I'm not sure, Biz. They might have needed a little Roman swipes later that night, because what do you do when you want to last longer? Some of the nights you want to last longer, an awesome concert, maybe season one of Shores, you want them all to last a little bit longer. Well, Roman swipes want you to last longer in bed. 340% better in bed, that is. Roman swipes are the secret to longer lasting sex. Roman swipes are uniquely formulated to reduce overstimulation without eliminating sensation altogether. The more consistent you are with the swipes, the longer and better your sex will be. The swipes are super easy to use. You take out the swipe, you apply it, you let it dry 5 minutes, and then you enjoy longer lasting sex. So go to GetRoman.com/Chiclets to get $10 off swipes when you choose a monthly plan. Maybe we can get a promo code for his parents one of these days, because that was pretty funny stuff. Gee, I know you want to.
Parties are going to be having key parties by the time you know it with this kid in the organization.
In dorms.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. Also, Biz, I want to talk about this kid, Logan Cooley, that Arizona took at third. He's a Pittsburgh kid. A great story here. You know, Sid's Little Penguins was a program he started back, years ago. He wanted young kids who maybe couldn't afford equipment or just to make hockey equipment available. This program has helped about 14,000 kids already, and this kid is the highest drafted player ever from Pittsburgh, Logan Cooley. Just a great story. And it goes to show how much these programs work. I mean, we think of
he was one of the beneficiaries of getting some of this gear in order to kick off his hockey career. And we know how expensive it is for these parents, man. So shout out to Sid and the organization for starting that. And obviously it playing a part in the fact that this kid was drafted, the highest kid ever from Pittsburgh drafted.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Ironically, he was a Capitals and Ovechkin fan, so that's kind of ironic how it worked out. But like I said, these programs, I know Emil Francis did it in New York City years ago, and Joey Mullen and Brian Mullen and Nick Fattiu ended up getting the pros, and Eddie Shore did something similar. Boston. These programs are great, man. I mean, even if like 1 or 2 kids end up going pro, man, that's all worth it. Plus all the kids who might get scholarships or just go out and have some fun. So these programs are good stuff. So when guys do it, it's awesome for the neighborhood, the community, and whatever. We got to talk about this Tampa pick. Isaac Howard, the Iceman. AKA
what a
Ivory.
legend.
Yeah, Avery. Right. He looked like Avery's stunt double when he comes strutting out. He's got the white suit looking like Disco Fever out there, the belt buckle, the mock turtleneck, and then he's got the quote of all quotes. I think I'm the best looking guy here, so I decided to be the best dressed too. I mean, confidence off the charts. I never seen that like this at the draft before.
I love the fact that not even joking, like 20 years ago, this kid would have been shunned. Somebody would have kicked it. Tampa would have rescinded the draft pick. And now it's all about making waves, right? It's all about maybe getting a little viral clip. It's about some confidence, and it's actually showing that you're getting some more personalities in the game of hockey. So no doubt that kid's going to take some shit. You think he cares? And apparently he's got some serious game too. He flies and he can score. And so to see that quote, and I actually got home. I was watching the first 10 picks of the draft, then went out and got back for the last 2 picks in the first round. I was like, who is this kid? And please fill in Jaromir Jagr's line on Instagram after, all right, because that was the most beautiful part.
Yeah, he said, this kid is lucky it's not 1990. Big guys would change his face. And, of course, everyone's like, oh, settle down, boom, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, yeah, like you just said. I mean, if that kid did it 30-some years ago, he'd be looking at a
Buddy, look at some of the fucking outfits that Jagr used to wear.
Well, that's the irony coming from him, Biz.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, but I think back then.
How about the hair he had on him, for crying out loud? That alone.
Biz almost got kicked off Pittsburgh for asking Mario to go to lunch. Imagine if he said he was the best looking guy in the draft.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie to his face, though. I just want to go to lunch with the guy. Yeah, that was definitely quite the outfit. And you got to have some big balls to show up to the draft like that. What would have been even tougher is if he would have slid outside the first round.
Oh, man, he would have had a different outfit.
Because then you got to wear it the same day, or the next day, excuse me. So I will say, just overall, probably one of the most entertaining drafts since I can remember. So shout out to everybody in Montreal, the fans who made it so special, and also having it in a city where all the brass and scouts and everybody can enjoy themselves doing it. And that's pretty much all I got as far as draft. The only other name that popped up was a kid from Vancouver who everybody was excited to get from there. Some people had him high as high as going 8th overall, and then they felt they got a steal there. And then the one other pick they made, Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, Spider-Man meme. Yeah, that's how crazy is that? Elias Pettersson, same name, but they said they never met each other. Well, again, that's been contradicted. I don't know if they have, but we got to talk about Bruce Boudreau before we move on. Big wrestling super fan. He's sitting there with the NHL Network set up, and they bring over Kevin Owens from the WWE. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan anymore. I guess this guy is huge. Boudreau lit up like a Christmas tree. Like he was like a 10-year-old kid, like fanboying out. It was absolutely hysterical watching that clip.
Is he from Montreal, or was WWE there?
I think he might be, if not from Montreal, a local guy. If he's from the area. But just funny to watch a guy his age still get that excited about wrestling. I mean, hey, it's great to have passions, but it's because it's Boudreau as well. And
he's from Montreal. That's correct.
Okay. A couple other quick notes, too.
If you find that third centerman that I was talking about, just text it on over.
Seattle Metropolitans some 90 years ago. It was just the second time that the top 2 picks were born outside of North America and came from the same country. Back in 2004, Ovi and Gino did the same thing. And this was interesting, too. From the first draft in 1963 up until 1984, every single draft was in Montreal, was either held in hotels, the league office, or at the Forum. So first 21 years, every draft was in Montreal. Yeah, oh God, yeah, the places must have been off the hook during those years. And also a couple local guys. We want to say congrats to defenseman Chris Romaine of Milton Academy. He was taken by Colorado in the 6th round. He's obviously a buddy of he's friends with our pal Jake. I got a chance to meet him at Jake's graduation party, Jake Tebow. He's going to Providence next year, so best of luck to Chris. And also congrats to Michael Callow of St. Sebastian in South Boston. Anaheim took him in the 5th round. He's going to Harvard next year, so congrats, Mike. Good luck on in the future. Hopefully things go well for you.